Hey guys, just a very short and sweet update for you all. BTC and XRP currently moving pretty nicely in synchronization with the key upper wick fishing levels given. So as you can see, it's been a pretty sloppy week since we've actually seen that downside fall towards the 21 cents region. And of course, for BTC down to the initial movement of around 8,500, dipping into the $7,800 region. Now, we've broken the counter trend line. Again, many of you have requested smaller updates throughout the day as well, whenever possible. So even if it's 2 to 3 minutes, just keeping you in synchronization with the market, then by all means necessary, I will be doing exactly that. So what I'm seeing on BTC right now and XRP, BTC, we've broken that counter trend. And before we actually ended up retesting the target that was actually anticipated, before potentially continuing the downside bias, we've actually fulfilled our $7,700 target, which is excellent to see. It's also wiped out the prior lows, and we've made a new lower low, whilst also continuously and progressively making lower highs as well. So I'm currently monitoring this trend line. This is what I saw yesterday on the 1 hour, and I had a bit of a weird feeling about it because when you go from the wick to wick, of course, we saw a perfect tap and we reversed to the downside. But as you know, the general rule of thumb, I like to technically cheat and go back to a very traditional method of trendline placement. So using this 1 hour time frame, just dragging this all the way up here, going to the 4 hour from there and seeing how this aligns, it looks a little bit messy. So all I would probably do in this situation is just clean this up a little bit. That's the 4 hour, I'm in the 6 hour, there we go. Let's get this nice and clean. Add that to there. You can see 3 retests, a nice break, no retest upon the upside movement, unlike the 1 hour time frame from this angle. So we have a more realistic and longer term approach of what could be happening here. So although that Fibonacci has already been fulfilled, the retracements were not fulfilled before this movement. So we've seen the break, we're looking at a retest right now, currently at the 61.8, we've got the 78.6 just above, alongside our upper green highlighted zone. Putting the fib within the fib, call it fibception if you wish. We have the original Fibonacci targets from the A, B, C. The A, the B, and the C is already fulfilled. So right now we're going in for this trend line. Just keep monitoring on the 1 hour time frame, even on the 4 hour. If we do see this rejection from here, we might see some wick fishing around this region as well. But overall, we should hopefully be holding this trend line and then continuing with our downside bias. But the fact we've now fulfilled 7,700 well is absolutely amazing. From a daily perspective, just to very quickly show you this as well, huge amounts of wick fishing within this region, and we are still closing exactly in line with where this prior wick was. So we do need to be a bit cautious, to be honest with you. The fact that we have not closed below this wick is a bit of an alarming sign, especially around this region. But the fact we are also still below one of the more crucial support trend lines and the support levels of around $8,500 now acting as resistance, we're still wedged comfortably in between these two crucial levels of price. So I would still be cautious. I'm still not too certain myself if I will be taking this setup. I'd much rather await a larger breakout from one of these key levels and then either go long from this region here, or of course go long once we break out and retest from here. If you want to be following those guidelines of taking a very small trade, then by all means necessary, just please wait for further updates and also just monitor this region. You can this should very easily be going to this region now. It's basically there already. Just wait for this to come through. I'll be keeping you updated, and we may have a nice short opportunity on our hands. Whether you want to take it or not is completely up to you. Remember, we've still caught a huge movement. We're still pretty much sitting on the sidelines. The stop losses by now, just leave them, to be honest with you, below the key level. Because if we start going towards that key level, then we're very likely going to start breaking out higher. So for the time being, you can either close the trades, leave that little 10% running still, completely up to you. But all I know is for the time being, there may be a nice little short opportunity coming up here, and this level should be fulfilled hopefully within the next hour or so, or within the next few candles. And then as for XRP, you can see the trendline retest, bang, absolutely perfect. It did absolutely blow through this resistance and the weekly trend line, but it's still aligning with our other key levels. So let's see how this 4 hour closes as well. If we do see a nice 4 hour bearish closure below this trend line again, I will feel a lot more confident actually going in for a potential short trade. But overall, the broken trend line has now been retested, and we do potentially have a very large risk to reward setup on this trade. So let's just say around here, potentially targeting all the way down to 20 cents. You're looking at around 4 to 5 risk to reward ratio on this setup as well. And even if you just extend that, you're still looking at a 3.0 plus risk to reward ratio. So everything has aligned quite nicely. I wasn't actually expecting it to continue coming through this way, but now we've actually seen that retest and they're both aligning so precisely with each other, as you can see here. Very, very nice movement, absolutely perfect. It's literally just fulfilled that target already. So all we'll be doing from this time being, we can actually start anticipating now holding that 78.6, and you can consider with BTC as well, if you do want to go in for that short, you just have to be careful right now. This is the perfect setup. You could even enter now, to be honest with you, if you want to get a bit ahead of time. That is how you actually get those real sniper entries. So if you are actually anticipating the $6,000 region, this is a bit of a bold call to make. And again, that's one of our bonus levels. So it's not necessary, to be honest with you. It's not something we really need to strive for. But if you want to capture that little bit of movement, personally, guys, 20 to 50% of your normal overall position size. We are not looking to jeopardize our overall profits from this movement just yet. This is more of an intraday movement and a bit more of a day trade versus a long-term hold. But now that we're seeing this movement here, just be cautious. Wick fishing, to be honest with you, could actually occur up to 8.6, but the candles should hopefully still be closing within this region. So just be cautious. Even that's a bit high, to be honest with you. We can drag that down a bit. But it does look like XRP has a bit of a better setup right now. But as long as this sustains below, guys, that's the trend line I mentioned as well. Pretty much coming through quite nicely. It's broken, so just have to be careful of that. But dragging that up to here, if price actually closes within this region as well, you've got a nice extra setup. So what I tend to do when it comes to these opportunities, again, it's been very rare that I've actually managed to capture it live on video. During these kind of situations, to get those real sniper entries, I usually actually enter a very small position. I'm talking 10 to 30% once my region is fulfilled, straight to that region with a very tight stop loss or even a wider stop loss, because when you are risking 20 to 30%, you are allowing yourself to potentially triple your stop loss size and distance, which means if price begins to hold or wick fish and then pull back down, once you've got that confirmation, you can add the final remainder of your position. So very nice setups going on here. We've seen that retest, 78.6, another 61.8, and our zone. All kinds of different confluences going on here. So I can actually just get rid of this now. This inside fib, as you can see, we're still fulfilling the longer one. Could even have a nice little short on your hands down to the likes of 7,200, which is, again, the second to last target. We've fulfilled 7,700. We've got 7,200. And we've got potentially $6,000 to $5,500 on the cards. But now let's just monitor this on the 1 hour, the 15-minute and the 30-minute candle closures coming in. I would be cautious for now. Just maybe wait for another wick to hopefully close and pull through. But if this does sustain, then it will be a nice short opportunity as well. And XRP looks like a bit of consolidation. Even if we are above this trend line, we do have that major 0.26 level, which again, after we pulled through, we've now retested. We're finally starting to see some movement, and now I can begin to actually shift towards one bias again. This is why I provide two biases, because during the periods of confusion and consolidation, we await a large move like this to then potentially counteract it and find an opportunity. So we're starting to see those opportunities. Let's see what happens, and I'll be keeping you updated throughout the day regardless. And whether that's another small video, whether that's just some Telegram updates, we can start anticipating a potential short opportunity now. So let's see how that goes, and we could be in for a very nice start to the week.